the buildings that we have here are all kind of 1950s that we've got. So we've got a lot of older spaces here, and then you've got 70s, and then over to Melbourne Connect, you've got your 2021. So it's a huge contrast in the design, but you can also see biggest things that we have is our buildings, we don't build to a 5-year lease. We don't build to a 10-year lease, expecting to then move after that. Yeah. We take a building, we build it, and then we're stuck with that building until it is end of life.
Welcome to the Let's Talk Facilities podcast, the podcast where we talk about insights, innovation, and impact of the FM industry. My name's Aaron.
And my name's Ben.
And today we have our first site tour for all of you. So we're going to walk around the campus at University of Melbourne with one of their faculty and facility team, Andrew Moore. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
You're our first site tour. Let's hope this goes well.
Thank you. Got to start big.
Start big, start strong.
Day.
So tell us what your role is and what part of the university, because the university is a big place.
Yeah, so I'm the Workspace strategy and operations manager for the Faculty of Engineering and IT. Still a title. It's a new title, so I'm still trying to get my head around it.
It's a tongue twister. Say it fast 10 times.
Such a tongue twister. So I look after 15 buildings on campus for the faculty. So 15 of them being a combination of ones here on Parkville. We've got obviously the one across the road on that technically sits in Carlton, and then we have some that are not part of this campus. So it's about 25,000 square metres of just workspace for a faculty that has about 50,000 square metres of overall space. So my role looks after any workspace environment, including circulation, amenity spaces like end of trip, bike store, that sort of thing. All falls under workspace.
Wow. That's quite huge. And how many people would go through your facilities on a daily basis? Do you sort of know those? Yeah,
so the people that I would directly look after, so people that we would say were allocated into my space, so they have a desk in my space or access to a desk in my space, would be 3,500 or more. But we also look after kind of all of the transition through our spaces, so those numbers would be in the tens of thousands every day. So it's an absolutely wild number, and it's a big challenge to try to identify who you look after, what kind of impact they have onto the spaces that they're coming into, and how you need to look after them when they're in the space. It's a big job.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, why don't you take us to your favourite space and we can walk and talk?
Yeah, amazing.
Let's do it.
Looking for the buyout then? Just be open for change.
Just so good to spend on things. I actually had to learn to do it because
the question to every...
My brother had mushrooms growing in his car.
Fantastic spreadsheet is like gone.
Water starts pouring on me.
It's such a rewarding career.
Drag them down!
We love you all of our customers.
This is our first building, so this is 1899 they built this building. 1899. So, and I would say it probably has our second best workspace environments within it, which is amazing considering it's definitely the oldest building that we have. But we've done a refurbishment in this space to bring the workspace up, obviously retaining the historic facade and being respectful to the space. This would definitely be my favorite because I feel like it speaks a lot to what engineering is and where it's come from, and the fact that we were contained within this building for so long, and then we've just kind of built out of it.
Sprawled out.
The faculty has ambitions to turn this into really the faculty's hub. So stripping out the interior and just developing it as a space where you bring all of your students, you do all of your consults with students. We have huge amounts of student spaces. We take out the workspace environments and we put those in our other buildings, but it becomes a place that everyone that studies engineering or works in engineering will touch in some way. And I think that's a big ambition. A lot of work has to be done to the building to make that work, but we've got plans underway already for that. But I just think looking at it, the way that they built it, the kind of quality and the textures and how much effort was put into it to make it what it is amazing. I've seen quite a few photos of it when it was there was nothing around it. So it's just almost like just dirt lots around it, and it was just plonked here. Because I think the first building on campus was back in 1850. So there was a significant amount of time before this building was put there, but still very impressive, I think.
That's cool. You've mentioned this was built 1899, there was something in 1850. your office is at the Melbourne Connect building, which is
2021.
2021. So you've got buildings that range
Absolutely.
across
so
many different dates.
This definitely oldest. The buildings that we have here are all kind of 1950s that we've got. So we've got a lot of older spaces here, and then you've got 70s, and then over to Melbourne Connect, you've got your 2021. So it's a huge contrast in the design. But you can also see, I think one of the biggest things that we have is our buildings. We don't build to a 5-year lease. We don't build to a 10-year lease expecting to then move after that. We take a building, we build it, and then we're stuck with that building until it is end of life. So what you will see is, like, for example, this building here, we've kept it alive, but so we've done to these buildings here. On the Triple E building, I think it's the most noticeable, where they've done an extension to that building. So they've taken the original building and then they've extended it out to build a newer part of it, which is something you would just never do unless you had that building forever. So it's kind of the challenges that we come across. Now, these buildings here, the B block, C block combination, they were built at a time where you wouldn't have to worry about DDA. Everything is stairs in there. And you also would try to you try to save money by building elevators in one building that then supports 2 buildings. So if you want to get to the 4th floor of B block and you don't want to use the stairs, you would take the elevators in C block, go up, transit the corridor across, and then link into that next building. So we see that in B block, C block, and we see that in E block and D block. So it's quite a nightmare. And also the labs that sit under the ground underneath us, they are the same thing. There's nowhere to get there via an elevator. So
which is obviously an issue for disability access.
Absolutely. So we've got plans, like there's only so much that you can do when you have that sort of challenge. So there's kind of limited options that we have without kind of making huge modifications to the building. We were intending on opening this whole Grattan Street section up, so those buildings were earmarked for demolition by the Vice Chancellor. And then it would, from here, you would see straight onto Grattan Street to the new station. With the current master plan for the university, that's pushed out a little bit, but that's kind of the ambition. But we've got to, like, as the on-the-ground operations team, we've got to make it work until then. So we've got to see what we can do in these spaces to not ignore them until that comes, but to make sure that they, you know, if we've got graduate researchers that are doing 3 to 4 year PhDs that are based in this building, you know, there's a whole cycle of them that are going to go through that space until it reaches that demolition point, which means we have to think about them and not just say, oh, well, you know, don't worry, in 10 years we'll knock them down, or in 15 years we'll knock them down. So, but for the people who are here now, we've got to do something for them.
And then do you also have to consider, okay, where are we going to put these people?
Absolutely. So through that, that's where the strategy element comes in. So obviously one of the big things that we've done here is implement a flexible working model, which we call FlexiSpace, which is applied in the Melbourne Connect building and some of the newer spaces that we've got here. So this space behind us is operating under a flexible model, as is, you know, Space Lab in D block.
Can you take us in and show us?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is sort of, we're in the old engineering building, 1899, but looking at it on the inside, you wouldn't know that this was a historical building, apart from maybe these brick arches and stuff like that.
Yeah, it definitely has a vibe of maybe a 2018 fit out, I think. So it's amazing what they've done to bring it, like to modernise the space. This was also used as a bit of a test of what we were going to do with Melbourne Connect. So, you know, you'll see in here we've built meeting rooms, focus rooms, and it was our first kind of test of what these spaces might look like, how they might operate, before we then implemented them into the plan for what Melbourne Connect became. So this is previous to Melbourne Connect existing. This is where the Dean of the faculty used to be based. So they were based just in the Workspace around this corner here.
Now it's kitchen.
Well, there's still Workspace. It's just kind of hidden up through this little corner here. Yeah, so the Dean used to be based in this space here.
And now it's all flexi space.
Now it's all flexi space. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those other buildings, like the one you showed us before, when you say they're not flexi space, what do you mean?
So they're one-to-one allocated. So you'll have a
there's
GR
an office.
appointed, and then they'll be assigned to a desk for the duration of their candidature.
Yeah.
There are also a lot of offices. I think that's one of the things that's retained in universities, which becomes a huge challenge for us when it comes to space, is offices. The other thing is the equity of offices, so the size mainly. You'll have an office that might be 45 square metres, down to one that might be 6 square metres, and we still have the challenge of one academic whose office may be slightly larger than another, and then who's more important,
I could imagine.
who thinks that they're more important to go into that. So we still have that challenge to deal with. We have that at Melbourne Connect as well. We have less offices there than we have a wait list for. So that's a challenge that I think will not go until the offices go, because there's always going to be people knocking on the door waiting for it.
That's true, yeah. If there's offices there, people want them.
Absolutely. Yeah. This space doesn't have any offices, which is very fortunate for us. The flexi space environments, it's a mixed bag, so some of them do have offices and some of them don't. What we do find though, in GR environments, you want there to be supervisors co-located. So there's a importance with having someone there who's kind of seen as the more senior person, and we see behaviours that improve once you have a supervisor co-located, if they're there, if they come in.
I like the little nod to, like, I'm assuming this
stained
was in
glass.
the original building.
Absolutely, yeah.
So are you saying it was?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So Kerno is the person who co-funded this building with the government to have it built, and then they've also named the laneway after him as well.
Well, maybe let's go and have a look at what something a little bit different to a flexi space would look like. That's still under your scope. I remember you telling me as you were going through the change to moving to flexi and agile workspaces, it was like consuming a lot of your time because it's a massive change.
Yeah.
How did you go managing that change? Because you've got a lot of stakeholders that you've got to try and...
So for a university, universities are kind of the final frontier with activity-based working. It's very much a foreign concept, particularly at this university, but we just have so many space constraints that we need to be smarter about how we use the space. And we every decision that we make is data-driven, so we never just make it on a whim. We did significant observation studies. Like we did an observation study back in 2023 where we observed, I think, 1 million specific data points to be able to make a call on how our spaces were being used. So we looked at all of our workspace environments, our lab environments, our teaching spaces to see how they were being used. And
how did you collect that data? So what
so we had. So we were looking at swipe data, we were looking at booking data from our booking management system, we were looking at, we had physical people move through the spaces. So we would have people on routes that would walk through spaces and then take note of what they saw. So we had the 3 data points, which was signs of life, which is, it looks like someone has been there today. So maybe a coffee cup is there or a laptop's open or something like that. And then we would have that they were physically there, like we would see that they were physically there and that would be marked, or it didn't look like anyone had been there. So we had those 3 data points to work off, and then we did every space that way. So it was a huge undertaking. So we did it over our whole semester. And we did it on like kind of a wave of different days, so that we didn't get the but I don't work on Mondays or I don't do that. So we wanted to make sure we captured all of that sort of thing, and we saw behaviour across that time. And through that, we saw that we were getting occupancy of around, in the 30 to 40% range. So we knew that we had to make a decision about what we were going to do, and that being one-to-one allocated just wasn't an option with that sort of utilisation. So we wanted to aim to be up at around the 60% mark.
I'm laughing at how old a lot of
Yeah.
this building looks, and then you walk
That's so
past
nice.
something like
So
this.
Well, this
Has
is
that just been like refurbed?
no. So this is
There's some people
a
working.
good space that we can use actually.
We clean the toilets here.
So this space it definitely shows what is possible when you take an old building. So we're in a 1956 building right now. This this space used to be a row of enclosed offices that all shared the same ceiling, and then there were two long rows of open plan workspace holding 10 people each. So we were doing a renovation in one of our buildings. We needed a space to put those people, to decamp them while that work was being undertaken. We built this space.
Yeah.
So we had to basically strip it out back to bare shell and then put everything in that you see around you. So this space didn't even have aircon. Like that's a pretty standard
I
thing
remember
in
there
these
were
older
like
buildings.
gaps and
Yeah, yeah, and like old beams and all sorts of things. And because the building standard when this was built was quite different to what it would be today, we had problems with what materials were used in the walls to divide them. So we had to do a lot of exploratory work to work out what's even in this wall for us to take it down.
Is this safe?
Yeah, is it safe for us to remove it?
Wow.
Is it holding anything? So what we turned this into is basically 12 enclosed offices. We used a system called X-Frame to build the offices. And then we've got the open plan
What's
workspace
X-Frame?
within it.
Tell us about
So
that.
X-Frame, they have it's almost like a prefab office, but the idea is that you can put them up and take them down.
And like relocate them.
Exactly. So they've all been designed that way. So this space in the future, if we needed to, say we needed to take the offices out behind us here, we could take them out and then increase the workspace environment. Or if we said like we need less offices but we need more workspace, it's possible to do it without destroying the X-frame itself. And then we can relocate it and put it somewhere else. But it's a beautiful system. Like
Yeah, they
it
look
looks
really
very
nice.
nice.
Yeah. Looks
Very easy to
schmick,
work with.
schmick.
Yeah.
Schleek and schmick.
And because it was fitting into an existing space, it was you can modify it enough that you could make it fit. Because obviously, nothing's going to be perfect in a space like this, but they did a pretty good job, I think, of turning it in. And it looks super modern.
That's what I was laughing about as we
Yeah.
walked past it. I'm glad we stopped because I was just felt out of place.
Walking back in time.
It looks
Yeah.
empty right now as well because we've actually moved the majority of the occupants out of this space on the weekend. They've been able to go back to their original location, which is finished. That work has been finished. It's now in. There's going to be some people who will be here until we do some other shuffling work, but until that happens, we'll have it kind of in this low use mode.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Is it harder to manage, like knowing that you've got such a, like you literally walk across this line and we're now back in the 50s. Is it hard to manage and keep things at a consistent level?
Absolutely.
With things like soft services when this is, you obviously can't bring it to the same level of looking clean as, say, a new space.
That's true. So the that's definitely a challenge that we deal with every single day. We can head in here. It might be less echoey. This is B block. So it's definitely a challenge for us. Even to the point where some of our spaces won't have aircon. So managing the kind of level of service when it's that varied. Now my team doesn't look after hard services, like the university centrally will look after hard services, but it's obviously a significant cost if you want to take an existing building and fully retrofit aircon in it.
Yeah.
So our role is to be kind of the advocates for the people in this space to make sure that what they do have is running well. Yeah. But I think this is an example, like this space, we have recently just uplifted the interior space. So that's something that my team led.
I remember how old those carpets were.
Very nice.
The early interface carpet that was here before, where it was worn down.
It
basically.
had reached end of life.
Yeah, I think it was dead and buried, but it was still here.
This is a nice choice.
Yeah, so my intention here, because obviously it's got the wood roof, so it's quite dark, and it was always very dark in this space. There's no, obviously all the offices are taking up the exterior, so there's no access to natural light in the circulation itself. So the wood makes it very dark, and they also had old lights through here, which are kind of like dark orangey colour. So my intention here was to choose a carpet that would reflect a lot of light. We got the walls repainted because they used to be, you can kind of see it in the edge of the door.
The yellow.
It used to be like an egg yolk yellow. All
80s,
the
90s
walls
feel.
were like that, and I wasn't sure if it was the paint or if it was just from years of smoking in the building. I wasn't sure, but you never know.
Thought of that.
I think it was just the paint, but so we want to retain the wood, obviously, because I do like that. Made the walls white, added some reflective nature to the carpet. It also has a nice cushion feel underneath it, and it kind of calls into the university blue, like really vaguely, but and it was just to bring the space back to life.
And there's enough variation in it to hide stains.
Absolutely. So yeah, it was a bold choice. I'll say it wasn't popular when it went in.
Really?
Only because it's
beautiful.
different.
So
it's
different,
very different. Like if you imagine what it was,
Because it was just the dark grey or brown.
and it's hard to know even what colour the carpet went in as.
Yeah.
Because
it was actually white.
But yeah, this is what we were able to do. So we've done this across the entire building just to kind of bring it back up into life. But obviously I can't take the stairs out. So, you can only do what you can do. But this is kind of some of the work that we have to do to when you've got a building that you're going to hold on to well past its probably serviceable life, just to keep it modern, to keep things moving and running in the space, and to kind of say to people like, we haven't given up on it. So,
you were mentioning before about the buildings that only have a female toilet, male toilet. Is this one of them?
Yeah.
On a level?
Yeah. So we've got a female toilet here.
Yeah.
There's no male toilet on this floor.
Should we walk down and see the male toilet?
We can. But this would be a great example of that.
And that's because back in the day it was only
when this
male.
building was built, there would only have been males in this building. So they said, why would we provision 2 bathrooms if we don't need it? So then, obviously, the easiest decision is we'll just halve the supply. But for the occupants, that's not a great deal because if you're a male based on this floor and you know that you have to go down a flight of stairs or up a flight of stairs to go to the bathroom, that's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
But and vice versa.
Segregation.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But at least you get your steps up.
Always
I'd be for
Always
it.
a silver lining.
I'd try and find it.
Yeah.
He's an optimist.
Yeah. But that sort of thing also comes down to, like in one of our buildings, it came down to the point where we would allocate people to spaces based on the amenity that was provided on that floor. And when you get down to that granular level, you think, what are we doing? Like this is absolutely crazy that we're like, what bathroom do you prefer to use? We'll allocate you near a bathroom. Like it's just, it's crazy. So this space was originally going to be picked up in the same project, but we didn't need as much of it as we thought. So I've been chipping away at this space for 2 years, I think, just like slowly getting a little bit done.
Yep.
There's kind of big things that we need to do in this space. One of them you can probably feel is the HVAC. So
it's very warm.
it is quite warm, but it does have access to fresh air through the openable windows, which is good and rare.
Very rare.
Yeah. So, we're preparing this space to be used for a bigger move that's going to happen. So everything's kind of falling into place at the right time. But this is a project that my team would do. So this is kind of an uplift. There used to be enclosed offices against the wall, and then there were the weirdest kind of maybe 1.5 to 1.8 metre high dividers around desks in the centre. It reminded me of those like old 50s offices.
There's still some buildings in the city that have that.
Yeah, it was it felt like you went back in time. So we scraped all of that back, everything back to the slab basically in this space.
Yep.
Also, what you can't see is behind this wall, there's actually 2 offices that are at that second kind of like mezzanine level. And there used to be like a metal staircase that led up to them. And it was almost like when you're in the factory office looking over the
Yeah.
factory floor. It was really like that. So obviously we
The
couldn't-
overlords.
Yeah, we couldn't retain the stairs the way that they were. They definitely weren't safe. So we have just kind of encapsulated that forever.
Yeah.
And because there's a water tank behind there that supports a lab that's below us, that's why it kind of had to sit at a
Okay.
different level.
Just built a wall.
Yeah. So yeah.
Someday an archaeologist is going to come in and go,
Wait, but
wow.
that's still, is it accessible or is it
No,
just entombed?
it's gone.
It's just
yeah.
a tomb.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
it's-
Just
Yeah.
keeping the history.
So in this space, we obviously
time capsule.
want to do full open plan with this space. So we've got lockers built against the window. So we're waiting for some of the hardware to arrive for us to commission those. All of the workstations went in last week. The hardware has gone in at the same time. We had a little kitchenette built, so they've got a water point at the end there. We've been testing these like phone booths a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about them yet in this space, so they might not be
Aaron,
here
if
when
you go
people move
them,
in.
You can scream and we
And-
will not hear a thing.
You'll never live that down.
He loves.
And then just to give the space a bit of a feature, we put the acoustic paneling on the wall, so they've made it a bit of a feature wall,
Yeah,
which I think has
nice.
turned out really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've obviously had an acoustic engineer look at this space because I can see that you've got the acoustic panels.
that acoustic engineer was me.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so
'cause the acoustics in here are great.
The secrets of the space are those panels are hiding the original light fittings. So this used to have like factory lighting, like it was so overlit in here. So they were hiding the holes so that we kind of had it as a testing until we put something up
Okay.
there. The popcorn ceiling has kind of gone out of style and then back into style, so we didn't touch that.
Yeah. It's in at the moment again. People are
Exactly.
No,
and that's
it's
why we
not.
said,
Are
oh,
you
we'll leave it.
serious?
Yeah.
It's all over. It's all
We'll
over
leave
my
it.
social media,
Oh
Ben.
my goodness. Oh wow.
And then so we put the linear lights in, the LEDs in, which
Yeah.
look absolutely beautiful. I think
Beautiful,
they suit
yeah.
the space. But I mean, like the view is
Yeah, it's so good, the
It's
view.
amazing. So the last thing that I wanted was to leave this space empty. So we're chipping away at these little things. We put in, like the way that the university works with kind of major works, like this would be considered on the minor works list, but through the university. That funding runs out very quickly, and it's hard to kind of get your project in there.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things we would do through operations. So if we have anything left over in operations, we try to like chip away at these little projects so that we can make them good. And this has been one of them that we've just been doing little bit by little bit. So we've done, the carpet, the workstations, the panels, the kitchen, the lights, the joinery. All of that has just been small things that we've slowly chipped away at. And this space is now unrecognisable from how we picked it up. And yeah, this has just been my little project that I've just been
You
chipping
have
away.
lots of
chipping away,
little
chipping away.
projects.
And I just test things out, like the panels on the wall. And I just think like, what's that going to look like? And it's hard when you look at a sample that's this big, and then you think, okay, imagine this, but like across that whole wall.
Yeah.
And then you're looking like, I think it'll be all right. I think it'll work.
You've done well.
Yeah, but it comes along quite well. It's something I want to use more of. Like when we were in this space, even before that was put on, it was still quite echoey in here. Like obviously we've got a lot of flat surfaces in here, but it's come along so well. Like the furniture's done a big job.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I mean, a
my
space
favourite.
does need a little bit of vibrance to it.
Yes.
You can't have it completely dead because otherwise something
That
happens
is
with
very
the hearing.
true. Very
You
true.
know,
Right,
it's just
it's like
like,
an
I don't
echo
want to be
chamber,
in here.
like-
And what we say is like it also means that any other noise is amplified. So if you're in a space that's too well insulated, any other noise will come at you so strong that it will be.
Yes.
So we do have that problem sometimes in Melbourne Connect, particularly because we've got big floor plates of open plan. It's so quiet because of the activity people are undertaking. They're doing like deep thinking research sort of activity. It's very quiet. It's unbelievably quiet to the point where if you go and talk to someone, that noise, everyone can hear it on the floor and will receive complaints.
Yeah.
So it's that's definitely the other extreme. But I think this will work well.
That's good. Penthouse.
Penthouse. He's taking us to the penthouse. So where are you taking us right now?
To the rooftop.
The rooftop. The rooftop bar? That's my favourite rooftop.
So obviously, like having older buildings means you've also got some pretty impressive views. So it's still the same building that we're in before. This is the rooftop. So this used to be a classroom. This exterior part. So you can see they had surveying points marked on the tiles. So you would have your equipment set up here, and then you would do
to
your
teach surveying.
Exactly.
Oh.
And these were. I don't really want to sit in that one, but imagine you would sit here, and you would be taking your notes here, and then your partner would have their equipment set up, and you'd be surveying.
Oh, wow.
Part. So it's both sides that would do it, and then the office that supported it was this space here, and we call it the penthouse. We're not going to call it the penthouse for much longer because it's going to become the observatory to speak to this.
Yeah.
But also the photos that we have of the space when it was being used like that, there is nothing else. There is nothing else around.
Wow.
So they're doing it to surveying points, on the mountains and things like that. But obviously it's couldn't do that anymore. But yeah, this also is a space that we're going to try to petition the university to allow us to do some activation on the rooftop. There's plenty of space, but if we kind of just carve out sections that would be safe, put in the right equipment so that there's no fall risk, and then see what we can do up here.
Some glass paneling along there.
But again, it's it's an absolutely beautiful
Like this is the perfect spot for
Events.
a cafe and events. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that view. You
Beautiful.
can't ever say that jobs and facilities are boring when you get to come and see amazing spaces like this.
Yeah. Well, I'm not on the roof of a 40-story building, but I mean, it's still a good view from
But you
Parkville.
can see
Every
the
building,
40-story
yeah,
buildings
yeah.
from here, which is not a common thing. Yeah. They've got, but
I
they've
saw
got
that.
on
It's
top of
beautiful.
that building, they've got this
you'd never know.
huge rooftop, and it's got these glass panels to stop people jumping off. Like,
I like how you said falling and he says jumping.
well, it's true.
It's the intention.
Yeah.
There's some.
You just don't want to
Who's
give the
brutality.
accidentally falling?
You don't want to
They're
give the
intentionally jumping.
opportunity.
So a lot of university life, I mean, people's futures hang in the balance of a lot of what you're doing. Like, I imagine you have mandates that would say zero disruption here. Like, we can't be disrupted. Keep your services to a minimum. How do you keep that invisible university sort of running?
So yeah, we definitely do have a requirement to have a minimal impact, and I think what you'll find with academics is they're because of the kind of activity that they're undertaking, again, that deep thinking work means that they are very prone to disruption.
Yeah.
So activities which in most situations wouldn't require notice, or they would be considered emergency works and that sort of thing, they are extremely disruptive, and it means we've got to do a lot of forward planning for those activities.
Yeah.
And we, down to the level of us describing the activity, describing what tools will be used, trying as hard as we can to put everything outside of business hours, which is difficult in an environment where business hours don't exist. So people are here all the time. So it's all about notice for us. We give as much notice as we can. We provide alternate spaces, so that's always a big thing for us, and that's what old engineering becomes for us, a little bit of our safe haven from works when we have to do works around sites. And also how far out you have to broadcast, to provide notice to people, because in this building, for example, say we were working on level 4, in the space that we showed you before, we would notify people around that area, but if we're bringing in furniture, for example, that could disrupt everyone in the building. It'll take time in the elevators. There'll be noise as things are piled up and put places as they get moved around. So understanding how much time, when is the right time, all of that stuff. And it's stuff that I've learned the hard way over time by making mistakes, receiving candid emails. Or phone calls, and then you just change for the next time and try to get better each time. But yeah, that's what we do, and we definitely do focus on making sure we do a minimal disruption. Sometimes you can't help it, stuff happens, but definitely when it's planned work, notice is everything. Wayfinding.
Oh yeah.
Signage. You can see some of it here. Some of this is my handiwork, the black on white.
Yeah.
White on black, I mean.
Well, yeah, and because I imagine wayfinding in a space like University of Melbourne, which is a city within a city, and every time I come and walk here with you, like I never know where I am.
Yeah, and it takes like months. Like I think it maybe is 6 months that it took me to get fairly confident just within my own buildings.
Yeah. So how do you make it easy? Like wayfinding is important for accessibility and making people feel included and part of the community.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the benefits for us is that our buildings are kind of contained within one environment for the most part. But the university has done a lot of good work around making all of their maps online to make it easier for you to get around. And one of the things I love that they use is maze maps, because I find maze maps to be extremely easy to find your way. You just put a room number in, you know where you want to go, and then it will show you exactly how to get there. If you're taking stairs, it'll show you where those stairs are. If it shows you where the elevators are.
Sort of like a shopping set, those big screens in a shopping centre.
Absolutely. It makes life very easy. So we've tried to lean into that as a faculty as much as we can. So we've been incorporating QR code signage into our wayfinding so that people can just arrive at a location, scan a QR code, it'll open it, and then you know exactly where you are. Yeah. And then you can say, oh, I want to get to this office, and then put the office number in. Then it'll show you, say, go to those elevators, take that up to this floor, and then continue along this corridor. And it's that like multi-dimensional, which makes life really easy.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the design of this. It's very...
monolithic.
Yeah,
what's
like
the word I'm looking
it makes
for?
me think of like you've got this beautiful red brick building, and then you look at this. It's like
that would have been intentional though to make that.
Yeah, we're walking into Hunger Games.
Well, so the VC that was here when these buildings were first conceived, their intention was to basically wall the university off and make beautiful spaces inside.
Yeah.
Which you can definitely see, like this continuation is just a giant wall effectively of Workspace. And then the previous VC, with his master plan, it was the intention to do the opposite. So to take the walls down and make the campus
tear down the walls.
Yeah. But there are elements of these buildings that I love. Like you can see things like this section here is actually a door. It's on rollers, so it can roll across, but they've maintained it so it looks similar to the facade.
What do you mean?
So there's a lab behind that wall, so that whole section
can open,
so it rolls open, and often you'll come here and that will all be open, but they've maintained the facade, they've kept the same design.
You wouldn't even know.
No. And that's what the gates are for, because when it's open, obviously you don't want people to fall out or jump out.
Why would they have gates that could open though?
Because
so when the walls
equipment still needs to come in and come out.
Oh,
so
they've
been designed in a way that they know that equipment will reach end of life. They know that things will modernise and new equipment will have to come.
Right, because this is mechanical engineering, so big, large...
Those wooden doors
like that one, yeah, like the big barn doors up there. So it's exactly that. They just know
incredible.
They've got to design that in, because otherwise, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Like they've got to only buy equipment that fits through the door. So yeah, that's
so well hidden though in terms of the design. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's still like every time I walk through this space and I see it open, I still stop and think, oh, I just can't believe that can open.
Oh, it does get open.
Oh yeah, regularly. Wow. Particularly when it's hot, they'll open it just for the airflow. But yeah, it's open quite often.
Wow.
Yeah. That's weird. So this lobby space, you can hear the echo in here. So this is building 170. We used to have some pictures on the wall, which I think went up in maybe like 2004 or something like that. So they really dated the building as soon as you saw them. Yeah. So what we've tried to do here is improve the wayfinding by having standardized signage. So we've got floor maps, so you can kind of work out where you are, where you want to go for each floor. And then we've got the standard stack map of what's on each floor. Yeah. But when we ripped out all of the old kind of pictures that were mounted on the wall, we wanted to think about how we're going to improve that sound and also make it an impressive lobby space, because this building is one of those buildings that supplies two buildings through elevators. So it's E block and D block are both supplied by these elevators set here. So we have paneling that's coming in. So you can see they've installed the black base of that paneling. So that's going to run the entire length. We've got a contractor coming to move the alarms and speakers down. So that will run along, and that'll form the base of the paneling, and then the paneling will run all the way to the top of the ceiling. It'll add some nice texture. It'll be a feature as you come into the space, but it'll also take a lot of the echo that you can hear out. We've also, you can see it's a bit dark in here at the moment, and that's
It's
because
so much brighter than the last time I was in here with you. It was dark, and that was the paint and everything.
there actually was exposed LED tubes along this base section, which you can see is what's in the background here. So that used to run along there, but it was not, it didn't have a filter on it, so you were looking straight into the light anytime you kind of came in. So it was a bit abrasive, but so we've removed that, and what we're going to do is at certain sections of the acoustic paneling, there's going to be LED strip lights that run to the top of the roof, which I thought is going to be a much nicer way to light the space. And it means that you're not directly looking into it unless you're looking up at the feature itself. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then when I was talking about the maze maps before, so we've incorporated the maze maps as a QR code into each of our signs. So if someone were to walk in off the street, come in, they could scan their phone here. They don't need to have a special app for it or anything like that. It'll take them to a web page that will then act as effectively like Google Maps for them.
So good.
And then in there, it'll prompt them to put in where they want to go. And then they'll see floor maps of every floor in the stack. And even if they're going to another building, it will take them to that building and show them exactly where they have to go to get there. And that is the best way that people can get around.
I mean, if you don't know where to go, like I would get lost.
Yeah. I think an etiquette thing that we might be able to encourage people to do is to include it in meeting invites. So if you're meeting with your academic, include the Maze Map link, and then they can just follow Maze Maps from wherever they end up being.
That's such a good idea, like to be able to just click this one.
Yeah. Well, because there's so many buildings, like how can you expect someone to know every single building, particularly if they're co-supervised? So if they're from another faculty, they've got used to their faculty's buildings, and then they say, oh, I'm going to meet you in Fate. And you say, okay, I don't know any of your buildings, so help me.
And especially for something like an orientation day or something, sending an invite out to someone who's never been on campus before with that link to take them directly to where they need to be to sign in or whatever.
Well, also think about industry engagement. So if you're talking with industry and you've got a hot lead in industry about some research that they want to do, I wonder how many people just don't want to come onto a campus because they're like, I know that I'll get lost. I don't want to meet on a campus, and then they're just hesitant because of that. But if you're including links with Maze Maps to your office or the meeting room or wherever, maybe that has a much better way of getting people to
and great for
engage.
Contractors.
Absolutely.
You tell them exactly where to go.
So the contractor that we've engaged to do some of this acoustic panel work was quite annoyed because I put this in after he'd already done a lot of the work for us. And he's like, why did you wait until after I've already had to work my way around the campus? And I'm like, we'll get there. But yeah, this one, so we've done this consistently. This was our prototype in this building, so we've done this consistently throughout the whole building, and we have further intentions to continue doing it.
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. So in season 1, we had Jade Germantis in the studio talking about the digital estate at University of Melbourne, which is the complete university. It's everything. You look after a section of that. How do you use that in your day-to-day to manage assets, services, whatever? Like, is it something that you're constantly accessing and using?
Yeah. So we use the product quite often. So it's where we'll pull floor plans, CAD files. We'll look at the materiality of what's been used in different spaces from projects so that we align with what's been put there before, or just so we can find where things are. So it'll keep the mechanical drawings, it'll keep all of the services in there for us, and we just hand them over.
So good.
Yeah. Well, when they exist. But I mean, with our buildings, we're talking about spaces that may have plans that were hand drawn. So there's scans of hand drawn, and then when you go and look in the wall, there's nothing there. So you do your best, but
I know
always requires
when I talk
exploration.
with FMs sometimes that have come into a space, haven't been given anything, there's no digital estate, like they're working blind half the time. It's like they don't know what their spec documents were, like how the space was built.
Yeah, you're just cutting holes in walls and seeing
hoping for the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have the plumber on standby.
Yeah.
Because you cut a pipe.
So as part of that digital estate, we also have Smart Campus. So Smart Campus is a a huge undertaking that the university has put forward with regards to installing sensors. So sensors for a whole range of different things. So whether it's like your normal BMS sensors where you're looking at how the HVAC system is performing, or whether you're looking at things like what the thermal comfort is like, what's the temperature, what's the humidity, what's the CO2 level in a particular space.
Yeah.
You can see the motion that's occurring in space, so a space is being used or not, and it allows you to make decisions about how spaces should operate based on how they're being used, but it also allows you to have kind of early warning systems with temperature and CO2 levels, and where you've got intervention requirements.
Yes.
So not all of our spaces are university owned. So for ones that are, like we're a tenant in them, and we kind of have to trust that the landlord is doing what they say and that their equipment is working the way that it was designed, we have kind of a backup that we can look at to make sure that the space is being serviced in the way that we expect, and then we can have early intervention if it isn't.
What's this building here? It's beautiful.
Yeah, so this
Is it Art Deco?
Yeah, definitely Art Deco. Definitely Art Deco. So they're getting ready for O Week, which is at the end of, it's this week, I think.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm glad they retained it because they did take a couple of buildings to build the student precinct. So I'm glad this one was retained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just this whole area, how it's landscaped,
Yeah, so this is all student precinct
paving
in this space. So there's more food retailers up in this area. All of this building here is student space. So different activities occur in this space.
Yeah.
What a cool little. Is this permanent or is this?
No, this is for
O Week.
For O Week, yeah. So there'll be performances here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Good little vibe.
Do you have a favourite eatery or cafe in this area? Or you're not allowed to say.
Like I've been to Thailand a plenty of times.
But that's a chain.
Yeah, but I've got them, like I've got my own food retailers on my side. Like Shooters is across the road, which can't go past that. They've just opened another banh mi place on Grattan Street, like I think 2 doors up from Shooters.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't miss a good banh mi.
You're definitely in a good spot for food, and
Absolutely.
you're
absolutely.
spoiled for choice, right near Lygon and everything.
Yeah.
So tell us more about like what it takes to keep the place running on a day. Like we've talked a lot about uplifts and refurbs, but what about you manage a lot of the day-to-day running as well. So you've got quite a big scope under you.
Yeah, and that's where the operations element comes in when we look after literally the day-to-day. So we manage cleaning vendors, we look after the supply of coffee, we look after stationery, other consumables in the kitchens. So it's that operational part is a challenge. So I've got a team of 2 others.
Only 3 of you.
Yes.
Doing all of that.
Doing all of that across all of the buildings. Yeah.
You are an A-team.
Lots of steps every day, and just a lot of touch base opportunities with people. And you pick your battles obviously when you're that small.
You don't have like a campus bike or a scooter you scoot around on?
I want my little Segway.
There he goes again.
With my little siren on it. Yeah, that'd be good. It's an easy campus to get around. So walking from Melbourne Connect across, we're lucky because most of the people we look after are kind of contained within Melbourne Connect.
Okay.
Even though we have 15 buildings, we have space in them that kind of varies between each building.
Not that way?
Maybe not that way.
No, this way?
Yeah, down this way I think would be good.
Way.
These are more of our buildings as well. So this is 167, Chem-Eng 2, which was the building that was going to come down, the one that's got all the plants up it.
Yeah, I love this one.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that Next Tech building I was talking about was going to be built around this tree that we've got here.
Beautiful tree.
It was going to be built around it. So what we were hoping was that during construction it would still be there. But they actually had intentions to save all of the plants that had grown on there and reuse them. Like it was a huge consideration.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the university wants us to look at a more STEM approach rather than a faculty approach, a more combined approach, we'll design another building that will incorporate other faculties into the same operation.
Yeah.
Which just pushes this out a bit further, which is a shame. But it'll come with time. But yeah, super old buildings again.
I noticed on a lot of the trees, I would assume that this is out of your scope, but you might be able to speak to it. There's a lot of tying of branches together. I assume that's to protect both people and the tree?
So I've actually been sitting here.
Where do you see that?
Up there, I can see ropes tying.
Yeah, if you look up the left-hand side, you can see there's two black wires. That are
And on the
crossed
tree
over.
where we started with the intro, that was all tied together.
So I've literally been sitting
Thought they were
here
lights.
outside this building when branches have fallen from this tree.
Oh, wow.
And gum trees love to drop branches,
on hot
particularly if
days,
it's hot
yeah.
or windy. And you don't want it falling on people, preferably. So it is what they do
not
to keep
optimal,
them keep them going. But it's a lot of work. Putting the tree first and saying we'll keep the tree there, but what do we need to do?
Yeah, because it's such a beautiful tree.
it? Yeah.
You know.
I like that they consider that.
So your scope is huge because you're I just can't imagine how
So-
you manage calendar blocking your week or whatever because you're,
Yeah.
you're
way-
working on projects and managing subcontractors and cleaning and
Yeah, the way that I like to think of my role is strategy, operations, and project management. Those are kind of the three fundamental parts. So the strategy part is obviously making sure that the spaces are working, or we've got enough space for future requirements, and that we're putting in our procedures and processes and guidelines to be able to kind of future-proof, but also the forward planning element. The operations part is making sure what we've got now is working day to day, and then the project management part is what kind of influences both of those to say either we're doing project management to make spaces that are going to last, or we're doing the project management because of strategic decisions that are being made.
yeah.
So how does that work practically in terms of faculty heads come to you and say, this is our plans, this is... how does that work?
Yeah,
How do you know what they want?
In the best case scenario, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
But often, so we'll be fed data from kind of the head of the faculty to say, this is the expected graduate research numbers that we expect for this year, and this is the kind of growth trajectory that we're on. And that means that we need this many offices, this many open plan desks, and this many buildings effectively. And then you have to work out if that is going to happen, and how you're going to fit that in.
And do they also give you back the data of this isn't working, this works?
Well, yeah, I think that
Do more
stuff
of this, less of this.
That stuff comes back through various channels. So we just kind of have to stay the course, and decisions are made through the faculty executive, which is the kind of the board of the faculty, which is
one's yours?
represented. I wouldn't park in.
On motorbike.
I thought that was a university logo on the front of that. I was like, wow, that's pushing it.
I want one of them. They're all wanting offices. You're wanting a university motorbike.
Yeah. But yeah, so the faculty executive make the decision. So we will send our ideas kind of up to them and what we think is the right way forward, and then they'll vote on it and then endorse it through that way. So FlexiSpace, for example, went up through faculty executive. We said, if this is what you want to do, this is how we would implement it, this is what it would represent for you in space savings, this is the kind of the guidelines that we'd have to put in place to make it work, and then they make a decision about whether that's what they want to do or not. And varying levels of success with stuff that we put up, but when we put it up, we push it and then we measure it over time. So we're doing our post-implementation reviews now of FlexiSpace as it was implemented to review what worked, what didn't, what changes we need to make, where our friction points were, and what we would do in future if we were going to do the same thing.
That makes sense.
Can
We just
I
walked
just
past
say,
a
this
bunch
is-
of indoor air quality, what are they called?
Air
purifiers.
Air purifiers.
Air
That's
scrubbers.
your heaven.
Oh, I love them.
He loves them.
Oh, give me a HEPA
Getting rid of
filter
them, would you
and
believe?
UVC.
They're getting rid of them.
Crazy.
I wish I knew that they were there because we were told they didn't have any left because we've asked for some of them.
Actually, we've walked through this, but I love this car park. It's awesome.
Yeah, so you might
Very
recognise it.
architectural.
So this was in the
movies?
original Mad Max.
Yeah,
this
that's
car
what I
park.
was going to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they filmed it in here. So this is underneath South Lawn. So it's partly underneath Building 193 and then underneath South Lawn.
Which is the lawn we could see out of that space that you'd renovated near the train station.
No, the opposite direction. So but we could see
guy's
it when
got
we
no
were on
See,
the
this
roof.
is why wayfinding is important.
Perfect. So So yeah, we're underneath the lawn right now. So this is a space, obviously it's being used right now as a car park, but there are intentions to use this space in the future for effectively a huge end of trip bike parking facility.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I think would be extremely beneficial.
Yeah.
It's very dark in here. They have some waterproofing issues that they're working on at the moment.
Above,
Yeah, and also underneath here is a lot of the mechanical that's servicing multiple buildings around this area. It all lives in this car park. So, you know, you've got mechanical services that are running that are servicing Wilson Hall, which is, you know, quite far down the street. But it's like, where are you going to put that equipment? And it's like, oh, we've got South Lawn, we'll put it in the car park. So yeah, these are all contractors of the university that are using this space, and then, you know, our grounds team are based in here. We have plumbers based in here, all sorts of services down here. This is kind of their home base, and then they deploy out across the university.
Yeah. What? Like, why is it so beautiful?
Well,
Like,
so usually
is
you would
there-
design this to have trees. So you would have a tree on the top, and then it would sit into the base. But I think it's an architectural decision.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's
Yeah, because I
beautiful.
mean, you'd think they'd just put a column and it'd just be a flat ceiling.
But I do wonder about the decision to have it as a car park when those they kind of come down, so it's not like you're just driving past a straight pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes.
Scrape the roof of your car.
Well, when would this have been built?
This was 1970, I think.
Okay.
Again, very brutalist.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's definitely on that level.
Is this car park under your scope?
Not-
Where's the car park and end of trip that you manage? It would be cool to talk about that. Maybe.
Yeah, so there's two. There's one that I've made, and then there's one that is kind of a shared facility for the university.
Yep.
I'd have to.
I love this entrance, but it appears everyone loves this entrance.
Oh, is it
they're taking
a
photos.
photo? Get it, Sam. Get a photo of me. Oh wow.
Wow, that's crazy for a car park
Yeah, for a car
entrance.
park entrance. Absolutely amazing. You
What
think you
the-
get into a
unexpected.
cathedral or something like that?
And who are they? Do we
Couldn't
know?
tell you. Couldn't tell you.
You've never read the plaque?
No, I just admire the view. So I thought we could kind of turn up and go over South Lawn.
Yep. And we'll actually see what South Lawn is.
Yeah.
All of the changes that have happened over the last, say, 5-10 years in the DEI space, I mean, universities are the most diverse places, I would say, maybe apart from an airport. But like you've got, but a university, you've got them all in the same community. They're all mingling, people of different walks of life. How does that impact your job?
Yeah, so as a engineering IT faculty, you've got a lot of students and staff that are international.
Yeah.
So whether they've come here just to study or whether they've moved here for a job opportunity to teach, it means that we've got a very diverse range of people that we look after. And it means that decisions that you make that you think are so minor, like if you're making a decision about putting Christmas decorations up, that might be met with pushback.
Yeah.
And you know, the events that you run, if you run an event for Easter, for example, that's something that might get pushback. So having that consideration to say, well, is this something that we support? Is this going to be neutral? Are we getting enough coverage of other events that we're running?
Yeah.
And are we being considerate across the board? That's something that we think about a lot. And it does make it difficult to make the right decision, but it also means culturally, like you have to understand where people are coming from, what they expect, what they consider to be normal in spaces, and if you're also providing or considering that when you see like bad behaviour, for example, you see someone do something and you think, you know, why have you done that? But culturally that might be perfectly acceptable to do that. And it's also, where do you meet that person? I think outside of kind of DEI, that is also something that I think about a lot with regards to the fact that our graduate researchers, which is the majority of the people that I look after, when you think about the fact that they, like for them, this is the first time they've been in a professional working environment. So they've gone through their kind of educational course, and this is the first time they've had a desk, they've been in a workspace environment. And you think like, well, where are we meeting these people in terms of showing them the expectations? Because they'll have a supervisor, but the supervisor isn't like a traditional manager where they're kind of involved in the outcome of that person personally.
Yeah.
So they don't want to develop them personally and that sort of thing. They're really there to make sure that they submit and they're on the right track in an educational sense. But when it comes down to making sure that, you know, the desk is clean, that they're making the right decisions around what they do and those sort of things, that's not what you see.
Yeah.
So we've got to kind of come in and take that that approach with them to try to help them make better decisions.
Yeah.
So yeah, it becomes quite a challenge. I think it's like the almost parental sometimes.
Yeah.
This is old quad, so this was the first thing that they built.
Yes,
And
sorry,
we've
as
just
soon
walked
as...
through, I asked you a question that was nothing to do with the space we were walking through, but tell us about this space.
Well, hang on, just when we turned that corner, mid your conversation, I saw this and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, so obviously this is not our faculty space, it's just a very beautiful landmark on campus. So it's the old quadrangle. So this was the first thing that they built on campus. So it's absolutely
1850.
beautiful.
We want to say thank you to Andrew Moore and the team at University of Melbourne for conducting our first site tour. It was really interesting getting to watch as we walked around the campus, seeing these historical buildings which have been treated with so much respect as they've been modernised and brought into the 21st century. What Andrew and the team are doing in their section of the campus is so inspiring and is a reflection of the university as a whole. So thank you, Andrew. And if you have a site that you'd like us to feature on Let's Talk Facilities, then reach out to us because we would love to see more sites around Australia featured on this platform.